Welcome everyone to the New Fly Fisher. In today's show, we're fly fishing on the incredibly beautiful and productive North Platte River near Casper, Wyoming. The focus of the show is all about nymphing techniques. We'll be discussing rigging options and correct presentation of your flies. It's going to be a great show. Stay with us. Welcome everyone to the North Platte Lodge located near Alcova, Wyoming. This week we're joining Brett Van Reshauer, the owner of the lodge, along with Trent Tatum, who is one of their guides. We're approximately 1 hour outside of Casper. Wyoming is quickly being known as a great fly fishing destination for anglers. The North Platte River is also quickly being known for both the size and number of trout it holds. In fact, many are stating it is one of the top rivers in the western U.S. The river contains large numbers of rainbow, cutbows, and brown trout, with rainbows being the most prolific. The North Platte is incredibly fertile and possesses a huge number of invertebrates. The net result is big, robust, and strong trout. Exactly what we're looking for. Brett is one of the most experienced guides I've ever had the pleasure of spending a day with. His knowledge of tactics, hatches, and fish behavior was outstanding, often a rare commodity in many angling locations. Best of all, Brett has an excellent sense of humor, which really helps you deal with the many fish you inevitably lose through the day. Trent is one of the top guides on the North Platte, and throughout this day I was truly thankful he was controlling the boat when we cast to seams and fought large fish. Brett decided that we should start the day by doing some walking and waiting near the boat launch. He explained a little bit about the places we should fish, specifically how trout use seams as feeding lanes and holding locations.
The main thing is we've got the main current out here behind us, the biggest part of the river. This is just a little channel that's come through an island. We've got a deep, deep hole below us, and you've got this nice shelf right here, and then it's a gravel bar all the way up this edge. What that does is it creates hatches. And so the hatches come off. These fish are going to move up out of that deep, big water into this shelf right here. You kind of see that shelf right across there. It's a little lighter color. You've got a nice deep drop off. What I'm going to try and do is just cast straight up here and work right along this seam. There's a flat water seam right here, and there's a current line that comes out. And I'm going to try and drop it right down that edge of that current line to start with. And what I typically do in a piece of water like this is I'll start on the very inside from way back here, and I'll work my way all the way across it. And if I don't pick up anything here, then I'll move up a few steps and I'll do the exact same thing across it. See if I can determine where the fish are laying.
Now, using a fair amount of weight given the current speed?
Actually, no, and the reason I'm not, I've got just a little bit of weight here, a couple fours. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is because if these bugs are hatching on this shelf, they're sailing right over the top of that shelf.
And the trout will be looking for them like that,
right.
Coming up and grabbing them.
And like I said before, if they don't take this fly, then I'm going to change, and I'm going to put a bunch of lead on it, and I'm going to drop in on the bottom of that, change flies, and put a midge on, which will be laying here on the bottom.
You've actually brought up a good thing, because this is what a lot of people do, and I've been guilty of it too. We get lazy and we don't change our rigs to match the conditions. Even if you walk 3 paces down, you might have to add weight, take off weight, etc.
The great thing about nymph fishing is there's a myriad of nymph rigs. You can fish anywhere you want, anywhere you want. If it's 25 feet deep and slow, you can nymph it. If it's a shallow rip like this, you can fish it. The biggest thing you want to change to start with, instead of flies, which is what most people do, is change your weight. Change your weight, change the depth that you're fishing. That's where you start. Then you change length, which again is changing depth. Then you change flies.
Nice cast. And I see you're going all the way through with your drift too. You're working all the way through, right to the tail. Are the takes subtle, or are they pretty aggressive?
The takes.
You see it grab real distinctly, the strike indicator?
Depends on what you're fishing. The bugs we're fishing right now, you probably will see a pretty distinct take. And The reason is because I'm fishing just under the surface more with a bug that's coming off this shell. If I go to slower water and fish deeper, the takes won't seem as aggressive.
Well, this is obviously going to be the hard thing, is getting the strike, like not missing the strike when you've got that much line out, eh? It makes it difficult.
You end up with a lot of slack at times, and that's a bad thing for setting the hook. That's why I really tell people to strike aggressively, because it feels tough when you're really hitting it hard. But with all this loop and a big 9-foot rod or 9.5-foot rod, you end up with a lot of slack and a lot of absorption there.
What do you find you like, a 9 or 9.5 foot?
I'm a big fan of a 9.5-foot rod, and I like to go down one size with a 9.5. This particular rod is a 9-foot 6-weight, and it's an exceptional nymph rod. It's a very fast action, stiff rod. But the advantage of a 9.5 is right.
There you go.
Is right here on the mend. Missed that one. It isn't going to happen today unless I make a good change somewhere. Got that one though.
There you go.
That's a nice,
nice
fish.
Very nice.
I've got a beautiful, fantastic reel designed to do this work for me. I'm not using it. How do you like that?
That much line, it takes a second to get it in, eh? Now, the thing I've always heard about the North Platte is that your fish here are incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you go ahead. I'll get my share today.
Oh, yeah. This fish is big enough. I was putting a little hook on him because I didn't want him to turn and go into that main current.
Yeah.
Because if he'd have hit that out there...
We're walking, eh? We're going to lose him quick, I suppose.
I was afraid I was going to lose him, but I ended up losing him.
Go ahead. Let's get another one.
Okay. Let's see what we can do here. That one was only probably 26, 27 inches, so we won't worry about him.
Excuse me?
Just kidding.
The ones that get away are always the biggest ones.
That's the fastest growing fish in the world right there. The one that just came off your fly.
Brett moved us up a couple hundred yards, and I started to apply some of his recommendations to my nymphing techniques. Right away, I got a hookup.
That's great. That's a no-question take.
Right.
Got a little head shaking going on. Now, you want to keep him balanced right here, because if he drops off this, we're running. Turn left?
Yep.
All right.
Going back home.
And that fish is ripping all over the place.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Oh, get that rod high for me. There we go.
A lot of head shaking.
Mm-hmm. Not very happy, is he?
No. Okay, now he's just holding here. Okay, line back on the reel.
Which is great.
Well, I heard the biggest whine is, my arm's sore.
Yeah, it is. It is.
He's using that current.
Sure is. He's wanting to come up, so we kind of go with him left.
Yeah.
There, he rolled a little bit.
Get his head up.
Yeah, we'll be lucky to squeeze 18 out of him. Yep. Yeah, we'll be lucky if that fish is 18. He's a great fish, but I run perfect.
All right.
And he's still full of it.
This isn't even a big one yet, is it?
No, that's a nice fish. He's probably 18, 19. You can see the cut on him there.
Yeah. Beautiful. Outstanding. Thank you.
All right. Well done.
Well, Brett, I think it's real important that we describe a little bit how you got this set up and how we're fishing over here. But first, let's talk about the rig you got set up here.
Basically, we've got a short rig. We're fishing shallow water. The water we're fishing is less than what we're standing in, so it's knee deep or less, and there's a couple pockets that are a little deeper. So we don't need a lot of length. So we've got a lightweight. There's a number 4 and a number 6 shot there, so there's very little weight. but we don't need it to get down. We're getting down, we're hitting the bottom occasionally. I like to put the first fly just a little bit closer to the lead than the second fly is to the first fly. And the reason for that is take that first fly and it puts it right on the bottom with this. The closer you put it to the lead, the closer it's going to be to the bottom. This fly is going to be a little bit further away, so it's going to have a little more action because of the current.
So it's tumbling more.
A little more tumbling. Okay. And our rig is, at this point, it's about 5 feet from indicator to lead. Using a small indicator because we don't need much, because we don't have much weight. So we're 5 feet. We could probably go shorter. The shorter you go in this situation, when you're in shallow water like this, the more direct the strike's going to be. If you got 10 feet a leader and you're fishing 3 feet of water, the fish can ease it. You can run 2 feet before your indicator even registers.
Yeah.
It's critical that you have the right length of your indicator. In this particular case, I like 5 feet because it allows that fly to settle down before the indicator does any drag. Because we're fishing almost straight up at this point. When we turn out a little bit, it'll be fine because it's a little bit deeper out there. It's about 3.5, 4 feet deep out there. So we'll probably even add a little bit of lead when we cast out there.
Into the deeper water. I guess we get about 12 inches here and
12 inches
8 to
about
10 inches here.
8 to 10 here.
Yeah.
Could even get her down to probably 6 or 8 here and shorten it like this. But since we have a bead head on the first, it can be a little bit longer.
Okay, great. No feet on those, right?
Not on top, no. We've got some midges coming off later in the day that are about a size 16. Some of the biggest midges you'll ever see.
Well, one of the things, Brett, that I think is real important for people to understand, because this is really difficult with this upstream nymphing, is the control you have to have of the line. Can you talk a little bit about that?
You've got to keep up with it. When you're casting straight upwards like we are here, you absolutely have to stay on top of that drift. You don't have any mending to do per se. Sometimes you'll have to do a little bit, but the biggest part is just keeping the slack caught up and being ready so that if that indicator moves, you can set. If you're sitting there and you've got a whole bunch of slack line like this, and your line is like this, and that indicator goes down, you set,
You miss it.
you don't even pull the fly tight. Where if you're here and you keep that line pretty straight like this, and keep up with it, the indicator goes or moves or wiggles or anything, boom, you're on it. Those smooth spots are indicative of some sort of structure underneath. And if you're fishing those, you are truly fishing a slack water. The thing you run into with those is, as you can see with this indicator, is that those are typically the slower pieces of water. And you see my line starting to pass that indicator. This is where a good, hefty man really comes in. And now it's still getting good drift. I'm of the theory that I want to do one mend. You see a lot of people come and they're doing this. Mend. You're disturbing the drift every time you mend.
Yeah.
So, rather than do a bunch of little ones, get it up there, hold off until you absolutely need to, make a big one, and get it done with. In this particular case, I might have a hard time setting the hook because I've got so much slack out. But as far as mend, that's what I'm looking for when I look for a big start. You see that big slick right there where I cast? That's going to be a tough drift from here. You know, that's where sometimes we're going to have to move out into the river to get past this rip. Oh, see, I had too much slack. I couldn't set the hook on it.
That was a good example.
Yeah.
Good example.
Good example of what not to do.
You know what I did there, Brett? I did what you told me, and I added an extra weight because I didn't feel it was getting down. What a difference it made.
Now that outside seam is a little bit deeper.
Yeah. Okay. So as I was saying, Brett,
think the second cast, that seam right there, like I said, a little deeper, put on some more weight. What a difference. I missed
right
one. Oh, yeah. There's probably more right there.
Yeah, that one broke the lead. Put him right in my lap. He had to run in with a heron.
Oh, yeah, it was a slash on him.
Right there.
Yeah. Beautiful. Outstanding.
We worked this riffle for a few more minutes, and then Brett had us repositioned to a new area with faster water.
Fish move up, there's a big deep hole below us. And they move right up, and this is the shelf, and it angles about like this across here. And they just move up, get right up on this shelf. As you can see, it's a big riffle here for probably, a quarter of a mile. Generates a lot of food, a lot of oxygen, a lot of things rolling down. This is the first place to go when the hatches start.
And I guess one of the keys that the fish like to keep on the inside here, to keep out of the main current, but yet be in a position where they can grab the food as it's going by, right?
Exactly, and if you look at this right here, it all looks like main current when you look out there. But really, for the first 30, 40 feet, we're in an off current, and the reason is because of that rock up there. Yeah. And that rock's creating a disturbance and it's pushing the water out. And this whole stretch down here below this rock, even not just right below it, but all the way down through here is loaded with fish.
Okay. And how are we going to fish this?
Basically, we're going right back to that same rig, about 6 feet a leader, because we're fishing maybe 3 feet of water. Now, you're a little bit short. We've got you rigged for that other spot we were at, where we were only fishing, 1.5 foot of water. Now, I think, based on what just happened with this fish, you're going to be fine right up in these ranges because that water's a little bit shallower. Okay. And when you drop down here and try to fish this deeper water, you're going to have to add length and weight.
Okay.
Well, I'm kind of set for that, so I'll go down here and work the deep water.
Okay, I'll go up here then. Thanks.
Okay. Got that. I love these large arbor reels when they go out that far. Oh, he's coming right up the edge. He's back at him. Easy there, big fella. That's a handful of fish.
We fished for a few more minutes, and then Brett had us load into the boat to join Trent. Because of the water color and height, Brett had us continue doing strike indicator nymphing. The water was just too dirty for any surface action.
Oh, right now, the boat's sitting in water that's moving slower than where the indicator is. So Trent's having to kind of move the boat, but it's changing our mend. We're going to have to mend downstream because it's been holding it back. And it just depends upon where this slack line is in your setup when you're fishing these, because if it's whichever way the line bellies, you just got to mend it the other way. I'm going to hit the daylights out of them, see if I can bury that hook. Maybe I'll even put on a number 2.
Double header, finally. Who's your mama?
That's probably what he's saying to us. Give me that net. I'm going to make short work of this little dude. Oh. Oh, I just thought I was going to get him in quick to make sure I got him. Thank you. There you go. Oh no, the pressure's on.
You gotta do it.
Trent, dive. Get in there. Get that fish. Oh, that's great. We are a boatload of hook and release fishermen. Get a little further, don't I?
Despite the incredible number of fish we hooked into, it seemed we could never keep one on the line for more than 30 seconds. Thankfully, Brett showed us how to do it.
That's a nice fish. He must be at least 12 inches. Come on, Colin. Putting the pressure on. Trent, help me out. We don't want to lose this. Oh, there it was. Here he is. Here he is. I want you to net this guy. Bring him in. I'm talking to this fish. Oh, throw a party in Dallas. The Texan landed a fish. Oh, that's his job.
We moved downriver and took in the majestic sights of this region. Of course, we never stopped fishing, and I'm so very glad we didn't. If we're all lucky, then several times in our angling lives, we get the opportunity to hook into a truly large fish. This was obviously my special day. Well, you cannot complain when you not only hook into a brown trout that probably weighs nearly 10 pounds, but the fact you actually landed it. Wow. It certainly made what was already a fantastic day better. I have been fortunate to have fished in a lot of wonderful places in my day. Fishing the North Platte River with Brett and Trent has to rate as one of the best experiences of my life. The beauty and serenity, and of course the incredible fishing. Incredible. We've had a great day here on the water. I'll tell you, it's about 6 o'clock. I'm bushed, fighting fish all day. The Platte River is a phenomenal resource, and if you go out with people like Brett here at the lodge, you'll have a great time. I hope you learned something about nymphing and some of the rigs we use today. If you want to learn about the patterns, please visit our website at www.thenewflyfisher.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Tom Rosenbauer. Hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to get all of our weekly uploads.